So I'm here today at Aqua Review, a really nice ADA fish store in Japan, and they've got so many amazing tanks here. And today we're here for something special. ADA, if you don't know ADA, it's one of the premium aquarium brands, has released a new product called the ADA Twist Counter. And before they had a product called the Beetle Counter, and this is what it looks like. This was on sale until, I think, like 2 years ago. They stopped selling this. I think they couldn't make it anymore. So they came up with something new this year, and it's just come out. But the Beetle Counter, it's a CO2 bubble counter, and you can see it's the bubbles per second that you count, and you run it through the CO2 diffuser. So this store has that bubble counter on almost all their large tanks, their large display tanks. Even this one. This is a 2-foot tank, but it's a pretty deep tank compared to this one. These are both 2-feet tanks, but you can see this one is much larger. But here's that ADA Beetle Counter, and this is one of my favorite ADA products, but it's no longer in production. So this year they came out with something new, and it's right here. So you can see the comparison. This is the old one, the ADA Beetle Counter, and right next to that is the new one. This here is the ADA Twist Counter, and you can see the difference. Much slimmer. Let me know in the comments down below which one you guys like better. I personally like this one, but they don't sell this anymore, so kind of unfortunate. For people who want to buy this, it's pretty hard to get your hands on this right now, and it's probably going to cost quite a bit of money if you find this. So right here is the Twist Counter. It's specified to be used for larger tanks, both of these. You can use them on smaller tanks like 60 cm 2-foot tanks, or even smaller if you want to, but I think it's meant for 3-foot tanks and bigger. But if you want to see this in use, there's one tank currently running it right here. Yeah, so right here, the Twist Counter. You can see the bubbles go up from the bottom. Quite large bubbles. And it goes up. And then into the CO2 diffuser right here. So I'm not sure how many bubbles that is. Maybe like 3 bubbles per second, maybe more. But yeah, ADA does come up with some pretty unique, interesting items. It's a premium brand in the aquarium hobby. Many of you know that. All these glassware, even the lily pipes, always made of glass. Look at that, see-through. That's why it's so amazing. Even these thermometers. It's just a really nice brand. And then the filters, there's the CO2 cylinder. It's actually a cover. It's a case. The CO2 cylinder is inside, and this is just a case for that, so very nice. And another product that's no longer in production is this right here. It's called the 𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀, and that's a check valve. So it's a ruby check valve. So really nice. But today we're getting one of the Twist counters because it's just a product that I'm really interested in, and yeah, it's a fun little product. I think that's what ADA tries to be. They want to be a premium brand, but also fun, innovative at the same time. One other thing I wanted to mention is when I first came to Japan, this is the first, I think one of the first stores I visited, and the Beetle Counter is one of the products that made me go, wow, what is this? It looks like a toy. And I didn't know what it was for. I didn't know anything about CO2, so I was always wondering, like, what the heck is this? And I knew ADA made it, but I had no clue what it was used for. So yeah, it's just that interesting factor for people who don't know anything about tanks as well. I think they're gonna ask about this, like, what a cool piece of item. And so let me know what you guys think of the twist counter in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it's a waste of money and just a regular bubble counter will do? A regular bubble counter works fine. I mean, even this store has one right here. This is a normal one, but I guess it's the playfulness, right? Sometimes, like having an item like this, it's a conversation starter, some might call it, but it's also nice to just blank out on. You can just look at it and sit and relax, and something Takashi Amano came up with. It's like his idea. He's no longer around, so it's also kind of a collector's item. ADA collectors out there. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think. I'd like to know your comments. Do you like this, the twist counter, or the Beetle counter? Or you might just be wondering, like, what's the difference with those two bubble counters? They're both made by ADA and they move in like a circle, spinny direction, whatever. But you might just think they're the same, and yeah, they do look the same, but today we get to take a closer look at both of them because I've got two of them, well, one of each. I've got the Beetle counter right here, the previous model. Right here, we'll take it out in a moment, and we've got the twist counter, the one that's just been released. Yeah, so we'll take a close look at them, and then we've also got just regular bubble counters. So this is a regular type you may be familiar with, and there's another type like this one, just a standard bubble counter, and then there's also this type that attaches to your CO2 regulator. So this is probably one of the most common types. If you have this, you really don't need any of these if you've got that, because that already tells you how much CO2 you're putting into your tank. So yeah, if you've got one of these, you really don't need this, but if you want to be fancy and get something that will make your tank look more fancy, then you can go ahead and get one of these. But I'm gonna pull these out and show you guys close up. So here's the two side by side. On the left we've got the Beetle counter, and then on the right we've got the new twist counter, and you can see the twist counter is much slimmer and it's also slightly longer than the Beetle counter. The Beetle counter also has the input and the output. I'm not so sure what to call that, so I apologize, but both at the top. Whereas the new one, it's got the input at the bottom and the output at the top. This is where you put the airline tubing, so yeah, slightly different there. And looking at the inside of the Beetle counter, this is a fixed glycerin type coil, and it's fixed in place. It looks very expensive, and the way it works, it's just so majestic. I don't know what to say, but it's such a cool item, and it just makes you go, wow. Like, I really like the design of this, and it just feels to me more expensive than this, even though they're the same price. This one, I think, it's just my personal favorite. But then with this one, the inside, you can see there's this zip tie put inside it, and that's to stop this inner part from moving around and shaking, and just so that it doesn't get damaged during transport, because the inside of this moves around. I think it's called a non-fixed DNA helix type coil, and yeah, I'll pull this thing out and show you what I mean. So we've got the zip tie out. So I think you can see in here, right there, that the inside of this new twist counter moves around. And if we take a look here at the Beetle counter, this here is the ADA Beetle counter. No matter how much I shake it, the inside doesn't move. It's fixed in place, so yeah. The Beetle counter in action. I'm very lucky to have this. I was actually gifted this from one of my friends, so thank you so much to that person. I'm just so thankful that I've got one of these, because it's probably my favorite item ever that ADA has made. This is discontinued. It's no longer in production, but you can find these secondhand online. Some people sell these, but they do cost quite a bit of money. One important thing you should never do if you've got one of these glass bubble counters, always use silicone tubing or airline tubing on these connections. You never want to put CO2 tubing like this hard stuff. You never want to put that on these glass connections because that really increases the chance of breaking these joints, and you really don't want to break that because yeah, it is easy to break. So always silicone tubing here. I've got my check valve down here so that the water doesn't like backflow. So yeah, always just be careful of that. And here we've got the new twist counter in place. So yeah, you can see the difference. Let me know which design you guys like in the comments down below. I know I've asked that already, but here we're seeing it close up on one of the tanks I've got here. This is the nature style 60 centimeter tank that I set up a couple of weeks ago with a pink flamingo. You can see the pink flamingos are starting to grow, which is really awesome. I'm running the 𝗲𝗾𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗀 WRGB Slim. You can see it's growing the plants really well. The carpet plant a little bit slower than I expected, but it is growing. This 𝗲𝗾𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗀 braziliensis, you can see it is running there, so yeah, just time will tell. We gotta be patient. But how do you like the twist counter? I do like this design a lot, but I think I'm still a fan of the Beetle Counter. So if you ask me which bubble counter works the best, to me they all work the exact same. You're able to count the bubbles per second in each one of these, so I don't see anything wrong with any of these. I really like this one. This is probably my favorite one. It's super cheap and it works perfectly fine. I love the way the bubbles come out. So simple, made of plastic, acrylic. If you drop this, it's not gonna break. And guess how much this thing cost? It cost me $4, so really cheap and efficient. Whereas this one, it's expensive. It costs over $100, and if you drop it, that's gone. It's not gonna get fixed. So you gotta really be careful with the glass products. And these ones too, if you drop these, they're not gonna break. Maybe this one, it's made of glass here, so you gotta be careful with this, but these are really durable and they should work perfectly fine. But in the comments down below, let me know which one you guys like the best. Which type do you use at home? Is there another style of bubble counter that you've got that I don't have right here? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm probably going to use this new twist counter on my contest tank that I'm hiding from you over there. You will see that tank in the next few months, hopefully, because it's struggling with algae right now, and I don't know if I'll make it for this year's contest, so we'll have to see about that. But let me know what you think of all these bubble counters in the comments down below. Which one's your favorite one? And I'll see you guys next time.